All right, all right. Looks like we're live here, or at least recording. This is my response, if you will, to Michael Jones. I hope Michael watches this because we need to go back a little bit. And I want to say up front, I apologize for misquoting you or misrepresenting your position, Michael, on you saying that you didn't correct yourself. What I saw was that you made a statement. It was a 3rd century text, which wasn't, that was just one little piece, right? Me just emphasizing Achilles Tatius is 2nd century, not 3rd. I didn't see you correct yourself and go, mistakenly said 3rd. I meant 2nd century. That's the correct date. Got it. I admit, mistaken. Second thing is with Joshua Bowen. I didn't text you because I had magic tricks too to try and bring in some combative argumentation. This whole thing got so personal and it's offended you so much that I think we should play the tape back a little because I'm the guilty one in your eyes and you don't really see your participation. So let's stop for 1 second. When you text me that you had magic tricks up your sleeve and you pulled those magic tricks out in your live stream with Eric Manning, you emphasized my reading comprehension skills and my philosophy sucks. You guys mocked me the entire video, acting as if, honestly, I'm an idiot and don't know anything about what I'm talking about. So if you don't factor that in and see how I was treated in that live stream by you guys, and let's not get started about your audience calling me gay and going through all sorts of crazy shit. Like, there's a lot of crap, a lot of toxic non-Christian stuff that I see in your Christian audience, your Christian community. Far from the fruits of the Spirit I would expect Christianity to be according to the biblical text. As speaking as someone who was a Christian, who no longer is, you can rationalize that I never was one, but I know this text quite well. And if I went on a video talking about your reading comprehension skills, your philosophy is terrible and stuff, you would feel a little bit offended as well and see it as a bit of a competitive thing. You're calling upon me saying I'm not smart in that way, and you're kind of laughing. You guys are making like, oh, how terrible arguments, terrible. Okay, cool. I did the same thing back. I just turned up the heat a little bit. And when I did so, let's address the Inanna's descent. These are the two things that you literally capitalize on as if this makes the whole 3.5 hour video just bunk. And so your audience doesn't have to pay attention to the arguments that may be made. And what is that? So I made a mistake about the when you date this text. However, you still doubled down in your video describing how you thought Achilles, well, all they had was water at the time. So that's why when he gives him this cup, and I ask you to read that text again carefully, it never says, here's this cup of water. Here's the cup of water that Dionysus has. He changes the guy's cup of water in his hands into wine. So based on your literalistic, this is the whole reason that I was doing this. And I was commenting in your live stream yesterday, just wanting to come on and chat with you, not to, argue and try to do all that. A lot of the audience was even wanting, your own audience was wanting me to come on and talk with you, Michael. And I just wanted to talk. I'm not interested in this debate crap. Honestly, it really is a dick measuring contest. And that's all we were doing through videos. Back and forth. You played a significant part in this as well. And so how you can't see that or at least play a part of it, if I've done anything that I shouldn't have and I've offended you, I'm sorry up front. But I do want to address something here. The thing that you acted like was the whole issue, the main one, other than the dating of Achilles Tatius, was Inanna's descent. So in Inanna's descent, we show bona fide Assyriologist Joshua Bowen. I contacted Josh. Hey, bro, can you look at this clip and tell me if this is factually correct? I'm not so sure this is. Samuel Kramer's interpretation is different. And he looks at it and he goes, well, I don't know why he is saying this. This is Josh's words to me. I don't know why he's saying this because I literally already explained this to him in messages. So I don't understand why he's using this argument here. Meaning Josh understood it and didn't really check the chronology. It's not like I was thinking, let me call Michael Jones or text Michael Jones and go, you're off about your chronology. I'm going to expose you on this upcoming video and explain this. Or, hey, bro, you're off on your chronology. Is this just a mistake? Or When did you do this? I didn't do that. I went with Joshua Bowen, just simply saying, hey, I've already explained this to him, so why is he presenting this? But I don't know if your position has changed. Catch my logic. Everyone, look at how Derek got the chronology mistaken through talking with Joshua Bowen, who didn't go and do all the detailed analyzing of when these things were. That wasn't his concern. His concern was how you're arguing for this 3 days and 3 nights descent, focused on the Atah statement, showing that it's actually she was dead for 3 days and 3 nights. So you had the interpretation completely wrong. That's the point. And in the live stream, you capitalized on me being a liar and getting this chronology mistaken on when you presented, but I'm still, and everyone is still, I feel, left in the dark on whether or not you actually have changed your mind based on what bona fide experts in this area say. Not a 1967 Hebrew Bible scholar who does not know Sumerian who's trying to explain Jonah instead. That's what really baffles me, is I'm still wondering, because if you haven't changed your mind, that doesn't look good for you, Michael, because whatever the point is, whether you gave the presentation back here and I got the timing wrong, if Josh, after explaining this to you and you didn't do your research, haven't changed your mind after making bold like you're like an authority figure to this audience, if you aren't changing your mind and coming to the conclusion that the experts are pointing out the obvious, then my point still stands in a way other than the chronology. So again, with the whole Mark Smith dealing with Ball, me and Neil capitalized that on the live stream yesterday. He's doing very scholarly stuff. He's not bona fide absolute in the case that Ball wasn't possibly a dying and rising God. He contends this position. Paola Corrente, who I have coming up in an interview, actually is like, he died and came back. And the text explicitly indicates this in both passages before the break, that this is what's happening. And coming up with the he just disappeared and came back idea in this text, the Ball cycle that she's talking about, doesn't make the most sense. And she's dealing with the text. She's willing to contend any of the other interpretations. She does Dionysus, she does Inanna, she does Baal. She goes into several other gods that are dying and rising gods in the ancient world. And we're going to capitalize on that and show people so they understand that there is a legit case by real scholars who know what the hell they're talking about, who say this. So this is a competitive back and forth, all because I started with your shut up. You ask, why did a non-mythicist care to wade into this? It was simply a mythicist video. Because many of the things that you're actually arguing against, you don't have to be mythicist to think that these things are the case or there's something to them. You have the all side. It's all bunk. It's all nonsense. And then the mythicist might have the extreme opposite. I'm saying, I'm coming in going, no, it's not all bunk. And I'm contending your point. This is what I find with apologetics, and I'm going to do that with William Lane Craig and show how he's wrong about dying and rising gods. I want to do that with Mithras, with Frank Turek, and actually go in depth about the Mithras cult and when this evolved and what the teachings were and things like that, as much as we can know. And long story short, like, I am seeing this a bit competitive. I saw you do this with Kipp and Josh before as well, where you guys had, a little bit of competitiveness. I didn't expect this to cause you to lose it, to be honest. I mean, you did a hit piece on me. I was being competitive back with me and Neil doing our video. You lost it in this last video. You went berserker and lost it. And like, I am the bad guy, like 100%. And I'm thinking, dude, you just did a video with Manning before this, trying to call out my philosophy sucks. My reading comprehension sucks. I'm an idiot, honestly, is what it looked like. And your audience thought the same thing. And then in this live stream that you just did yesterday, where you're losing your shit, was even worse. And I got called all sorts of names. And I'm thinking to myself, damn, okay. So here you are. You capitalize on 2 points, really. This is the only 2 points I saw. One was insignificant. One was pretty significant with the Inanna's descent. And yet I'm still left wondering, did you change your view? Are you willing to say I was wrong? You double down on Achilles Tatius interpretation, though it doesn't fit the criteria you would expect me to have for anything pre-Christian. And the text says, as he went away. If you go away from the god, the shrine, the place where the wine was, it starts tasting like water. That doesn't mean it's water. No. That means it just tastes like water. Why does it start tasting like water then? If the text doesn't say it became water, but it starts transforming into the elements, that the accidents of water, but you can't know it didn't turn into the substance of water. It just doesn't indicate that. I mean, it's absurd. You don't do that with Achilles Tatius. You don't do that. You just go, well, all they had was water, so where did wine come from? Dionysus could have brought a cup of wine that he had himself and handed it to the shepherd. Read the text again. It doesn't give you the detail. You go, what's the point? So what? Now you're saying he's not turning water into wine? No, I think he's turning water into wine here as well. But see, my standard, my criteria and expectation isn't as difficult, because you have a very sensitive spot you need to protect. That is, Jesus's miracle happened and all of the Dionysian ones didn't. You have a very soft spot that you have to contend and protect and make sure stuff that's around it is isolated and completely different in order to keep your castle from getting hit. And instead of just accepting, yeah, okay, these are wine miracles where he's transforming actual springs into wine. The rivers are flowing with wine now, according to these stories from Oedipus with Seneca. According to Plutarch, where he's baptized as an infant by the nymph, the nurses, in the water, and the water starts to transform into wine. How does it start to transform into wine? Clearly, it has the sparkle, the taste. I mean, it intoxicates people. What else do you need to know that that's what's happening here? You're playing games, man. And that's the thing. Like, and then what you do, and then when you bring up the whole transubstantiation, what you did is you point out this wine and this bread actually turns into Jesus, but none of the accidents change. I mean, look, it's like me saying this water bottle, abracadabra, is now a missile used for weaponry. I can go to war with this right now. Nothing gives you any indication that's true. Nothing visibly, there's nothing at all that gives you any indication that's true. Your Aristotelian argument, which is what I was calling on the table, saying it's ridiculous. What you're arguing for is ridiculous. You want me to believe this is a missile that's going into battle. And I'm saying, nah, dude, it still looks like a water bottle, and it operates like a water bottle. It still has water in it. Makes no sense why you would try to tell me and convince me this is a missile. But if I told you abracadabra and you started seeing, the actual propeller aerodynamic, what do you call the wings on the end, and it started getting pointy and green, started enlarging, and it started to actually look like a missile, and somehow you could smell, or a metal detector could come by and see, oh, hold on, or some type of thing could see that there's gunpowder or whatever. Like, that would give you indicators that, this is actually changing into a missile. All of that is given in those myths that I gave you before Jesus, indicating the water turned into wine, and it was even coming back into water away from the God who first turned it into wine. I don't know how that doesn't make any sense to you, other than what I'm saying. And it's hard for me not to think, dude, are you purposefully dodging what I'm saying here to try and keep your arguments true? Ego's involved. You did this constant defamation kind of, I'm going to make Derek look like he's a complete liar, and you shouldn't take anything this guy's saying seriously. And I'm the friend who betrayed you. Okay. I didn't go to this level of you betrayed me as a friend when you mocked me with Manning. I just did a hit piece back. You took it so personal. You were dishing it out. You were giving it to me. I was taking it like a man. Let's do this shit like men. All right, come on. I'm giving it back. I'm arguing back. And you turned it into this real serious thing now and making it way more than it needed to be. So, yes, I'm competitive by nature, Michael Jones. You are too. If you weren't, why are you arguing with apologists from the Muslim world? Why are you constantly contending these and going on modern day debate to argue against atheists? You got one coming up right now. I saw through modern day debate with theoretical physicist Lawrence Krauss. I mean, there's going to be beef. There's going to be tension. And if I don't think that you're doing something that is showing the motivation that I think you are doing often, that is to keep your castle from falling, then I'm not doing my job when I'm competing in these arguments. And that's why I was expressing on my live stream that I don't really like doing this that often because it's an uneasy feeling. I have a much better time just doing a straight educational video that shows you the case instead of having to deal with the personalities and who did I hurt, whose feelings, and who's going to try and come at me and try to make me look bad or try to call me names and things like that. Like you did me, like you were doing with me. I mean, dude, grow up a little bit, bro. Honestly, I don't know what else to say. You're making this much bigger than it needs to be. And I don't know. I don't know if I want to potentially get too much closer. I mean, people were like, make things right. You guys were such great friends. Michael, admit we were friendly, but like, how close do people think we were? I mean, I was cool with you. I thought, okay, Michael's cool. He's a cool dude. He could take punches. We can get punches, but we're also like, we get along. If we were not talking about theology or the Bible or any of this shit, we'd be cool. And that's how I thought of it. But it wasn't that deep. Like, it's not that serious. We were cool. High five. Would love to have met you one day when you come down here to Florida. I told you I'd want to meet you at a apologetic conference and actually chat with you, getting to know you a little more and stuff like that. It wasn't that deep. This was not like a 20-year friend just stabbed me in the back. Like, no, dude, you just went on telling your whole audience how terrible of arguments I have, how terrible my reading comprehension is, how terrible my philosophy is, how I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. And I just did a hit piece back and argued, and you skipped a ton of that material, which I don't blame you. You only focused on the few points that you wanted to contend because you saw flaws in. The rest of it, your audience should watch. They should really watch. So yes, to Michael's audience, because I'm not sure Michael's really, I don't know if he's built for these kind of back and forth arenas and getting into this kind of stuff without really, really, really taking it serious to the point where he might potentially, I don't know, send me legal documents if something went too far for him. I don't know. I want to say this. Yeah, I was wrong about the dating, not seeing him correct himself, which he was wrong initially on. So that's the only part I saw was he was wrong initially, and I missed the part where he corrected himself. Wrong about that. And then Inanna's descent to chronology, went with Joshua Bowen on this. Didn't need to call Jones. Me and Jones were doing back and forth. This was competitive, guys. We were texting each other, coming back at each other. It was cool. He was fine with this. Everything was going good till the video with me and Neil came out. Oh, now we've gone too far. Now we've gone too far. And, you know, okay, well, I guess we have gone too far to him. And I'm thinking to myself, what do I do from here? You know, so I'm going to move forward. I don't know what he's going to do. It doesn't matter to me. I'm going to keep moving forward. I've got a series to do. I've got to tackle his associate. He has like really helped with this, by the way, the association fallacy, the argument that you're just equivocating just because there's some similarities and stuff. You do not need to do this equivocation fallacy, Derek. And then they also go into the Titan and Titanic analogy of these boats. One is from a fictional novel 14 years before the Titanic. Man, this is a horrible argument. This does not make any sense. I've heard it with, well, what about the predictions that we find, the coincidental predictions that Donald Trump will become president in The Simpsons, or look at the JFK and Abraham Lincoln coincidences that just so happen to co-align. And there's so much that needs to be said about this, because in every single one of these cases, they're real world things. I could get into the details specifically with The Simpsons, for example. You do know that Donald Trump was doing like interviews back in those days, literally doing interviews, and people were asking him, if you become president, da-da-da-da-da. Why wouldn't, if people on these like TV stations that are interviewing Donald Trump asking this, why wouldn't a Simpsons cartoon have that in one of their cartoons? And then just so happens one day the guy becomes president. It's not that big of a whoa. That's not a miraculous thing. It's not holy smokes to me. And that goes for the Titanic. That goes for everything. Give me real world historical. I'm going to leave on this note because I don't know what else to add to it, man. Like, part of me wants to say sorry because he's so sensitive about this and just like, dude, like, I don't know how to, is he sorry about how he treated me? I mean, is he going to apologize to me too? Or am I supposed to be the only one who apologizes? Does it take the non-Christian atheists that most people think don't have ethics to be the one who completely apologizes and bend over backwards and look, man, I'm sorry, bro. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. Or is the Christian who's supposed to be the one living with the Spirit in him, that is forgiveness, unwavering forgiveness and love and the fruits of the Spirit, supposed to be the one who's doing this? I don't know. I'd like to make things cool with Michael Jones and be okay. I never had the intention that this was going to ruin our friendship. I thought this was competition. And yeah, he called me an idiot practically in so many words in his video. I'm calling his stuff out. That's what I thought happened. This got way too serious, way too fast for him. Association fallacy. Give me real world, actual historical resurrections, ascensions, virgin births, or births by divine figures that aren't myth or legend, that we can anchor in the real world. I can give you ships that sink. I can give you titans, so to speak. Give me resurrections and ascensions and birth narratives and eyes being blind people being healed that you think are real and historical. Not fictive, not invented, not propaganda, not legend, not mythology, not folklore. Everything that is, you would say you don't accept, give me those with around Jesus, then anchor that to Jesus. Don't pretend all of those aren't historical. Like none of these are true. Build your case that way, and then I'll take you serious. Because if you're actually arguing Jesus is the only historical one that happens here, let's stay within our Jewish. We can maybe run to Elijah and Elisha. Inconsistent, I would say. Because all you're going to do is stick to your line of the biblical corpus. You don't have anything outside of that? That's all you have? Well, then that's bullshit. Because you're not actually taking real world factors and using that and making an analogy to strengthen the case for Jesus' resurrection, showing that it's not legendary or fictive in some sense or propaganda in some way. If every example you have to look to where there's divine births, ascensions, resurrections, or some type of post-mortem appearances and such, and you don't accept those as authentic or true, and you don't qualify them as real phenomena that are historical and need to be taken seriously and consider them historical, then when you get to Jesus, I can do the exact same thing. And that's what I do because it's that obvious to me. So this whole thing needs to be spelled out. And I've got a documentary. I'm already 15 minutes into recording it now. It's an hour and 10 minutes that is going to dispel this whole association fallacy so that once I move forward and do comparative mythology, some of it is generic comparative, general features and aspects of mythology that you're going to find that are comparable with Jesus. Some of it is more specific, historical comparative mythology, which means there may be genealogical or at least historical context in the culture that we're discussing in which you can see it is working very much in the same vein. This is based on scholarship. So I'm bringing receipts of academics and stuff and bringing the receipts of actual scholarship. And he was bringing receipts of me making 2 mistakes. Maybe he wants to call Ball a third mistake, but that was not a mistake. The text says Ball is dead, according to the translation by Mark Smith. But Mark Smith doesn't draw the dying and rising God. I know. Other academics we know do. And that's what I'm saying. We have receipts. For everything we're talking about, we have receipts. I'm not interested in doing this constant, childish stuff. I'm saying, let's focus on the arguments. Because at the end of the day, the classicist agreed with me on my point with Dionysus. And these are people who specialize on Dionysus miracles. Ana Isabel Jimenez San Cristobal. She literally agrees with me on this assessment of the miracles of Dionysus, the wine miracles that we're discussing. And what do? You have JP Holding. You have a website by an apologist who's quoting another apologist, trying to downplay all of these scenes and narratives that we find about Dionysus as if they aren't potential templates for Jesus, potential things that need to be modeled and imitated for that Greco-Roman world that they're trying to convert so badly. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, there's my 2 cents. I don't know where to go from here because, what do you do? What do you do? So, Michael, I'm afraid, this is my concern. I'm afraid that if I just all out apologize and just go completely with this sorry and try to make things right, you're going to say some stuff that I'm going to critique in the future, that I'm going to criticize harshly because I think some of this stuff is honestly ignorant and totally mistaken and misleading for an audience. You're going to be so sensitive about it, and it's going to offend you so badly that you're going to feel like I'm not your friend again. You're going to do another hit piece of like, I lied or this and that. I don't know if it's worth moving forward in an arena where I'm probably going to be critical of something you do, and you're just going to take it again so personal that it's going to affect you this way. I don't know. So I'm going to leave it at that, and I hope you have a wonderful day, everybody. I'm going to go hit the gym and talk to you later.